Good afternoon, student. This is the fifth part of the chapter Globalization and the Indian Economy, class 10th, subject Social Science. Student, in this section, we will begin from page number 65 and our heading is World Trade Organization. As we have already discussed in the previous section that Government of India in the year 1991 decided to liberalize the international trade by the means of removing trade barrier. Trade barrier, we discussed that it is the tax on the imports. So this tax on the import was supposed to be removed along with removing of the limit or quota, which means the quantity of the import item could not be also fixed now. So why this was done? Government, why this was done by the government? So that more and more foreign trade and foreign investment can take place. When this decision of the government was taken, it was supported by all the international organizations which were uh, in the belief that trade between the countries should not be restricted by the government of that particular country. They also wanted that it is good for the growth of the all the countries if there has free trade between the countries. So student, in this direction, many developed countries have taken initiative that if there are trade going to take place at a larger scale, there must be one institution which is meant to liberalize the international trade. Number one, as I said, number one, it is meant to liberalize the international trade, and second, to establish some of the rules and regulation to carry the international trade smoothly, and third, to ensure that the rules which are being made is to be followed by all the member countries. Therefore, student, the organization which came into being for all these, for achieving all these three objectives was World Trade Organization. WTO was established in the year 1995. The exact date was 1st January. It is not written in your textbook. I am just giving you extra information that on the 1st January 1995, WTO was established. Again, as I said, for the three purpose: to liberalize the international trade. This was the first aim. Second, to ensure that the rules what are being established by this institution is going to be followed by all the member country. And third, that it is not going it is going to help those countries which get involved in any such dispute. Now, once this country was made, you can say that many members have joined it. Presently, there are 164 members in the world. However, there are certain gray areas. After coming of this World Trade Organization, many times underdeveloped and developing countries have blamed it, have accused it of being biased. Of being biased to what sense? Being biased in the favor of the developed countries. It has been noticed that various times the rules and regulation which are being made by the World Trade Organization has not been beneficial for the underdeveloped and developing countries. Rather, it has been only beneficial for the developed countries. To give you better example, your book has taken in a particular case of the agriculture production, and in this direction the debate on trade practice has been taken. So let us understand what is the problem there. First, take the agricultural case of India. We are well aware that 50% of our population is still do the agricultural work. It means their employment is sources are generated from primary or agriculture sector, and they contribute around 15 to 80%, 18%, 15 to 18% in the GDP of the country. Our farmers are not very prosperous. They need to have so many support from the government, like many times government provide them loan, many times government provide them subsidy to purchase the fertilizer, pesticides, high yielding variety seeds, and sometimes their loan is also waived off so that they can continue to do their production without falling into the situation of losing their piece of land or losing the opportunity to survive or making the livelihood for themselves. On the other side, let us take what the situation in agricultural field in United States of America. In United States of America, only 0.5% of the population is associated with agricultural sector, and their contribution in the GDP is 1%. Now student, there is one thing you must notice down, you must take into the consideration. Don't jump to the conclusion that 1% it means that the agriculture production is very less in USA, because the GDP size of USA is so big and the contribution of secondary and tertiary sector is so large. That is why in terms of percentage the contribution of primary sector is only 1%, but in terms of money it is very huge. America is one of the country where the agriculture production is very high, and because there are only 0.5% of the population involved. We have discussed in the sectors of Indian economy, if you remember, that how the countries from the developing to become developed, there is a historical change which used to take place, that every country initially remain dominated by the primary and agriculture sector, but when it start developing and it acquired the status of a developed country, in that process the secondary and tertiary sector start dominating over the primary sector. So the American case is exactly same, that because there is a higher growth in the secondary and tertiary sector because of the more and more opportunity in the sector, the GDP percentage contribution of primary sector has reduced to 1%, but in spite of that, the contribution of the primary sector in America is very high. Farmers are very rich. In spite of that, there is a fear in the government in America that these 0.5% people may be migrating towards the cities and may be getting associated with the secondary and tertiary sector. If this will happen, who will do the agricultural production? If agriculture production will not be there, secondary will also not be possible without the raw material. For this reason, our government in USA, the government in USA gives lot of subsidy, massive subsidy on the agricultural product. So this is something very biased to our farmers who actually need to be given subsidy. Under the WTO rules, we are being compelled to waive off these subsidies which have been given to the farmers, but on the other side the rich farmers of America are given massive subsidy, which actually become a problem in that sense that their farmers sell the product at a very low price in the world, which makes other farmers of the world out of the competition because they cannot sell their product at such a low price. And this itself is an example that the rules of WTO is not followed universally by all the member countries. Our next heading is, student, on the page number 66, that is impact of globalization. Your textbook has said that it is almost 20 year, but if you measure, it is 2020 going on, and the liberalization of the foreign trade and foreign investment started in the year 1991. So you can say roughly it is 30 year, and over the 30 year, let us analyze how the lives of the people in our country has got affected due to the globalization. We can say that there are three segments. First, the buyer or the consumer. Second, the producer, and third, the workers. Upon these three segments, how their life has got affected, we will analyze in this section. As far as the buyer is concerned, we can say that ever since the liberalization has started, all the multinational companies, all the producers have found that there is a greater competition between them, be it the local producer or be it the foreign producer. As a result of the greater competition, these multinational all these companies, be it local company or foreign companies, have improved the quality of their product, have provided more choice in each of the category of goods, and also they have lowered the prices, and by this means the life of the customer has become very good, especially the well-off section which actually consume the product what are being produced by these companies. So you can say the quality or the standard of the living of the people of the well-off section has further improved. That is the impact of the globalization on the rich section or the well-off section of the society, because of the greater competition between the producer of local companies, producer of local as well as foreign companies. Now student, moving to what about the impact on the producer and the worker. So it is little mixed. There are some good impact and there are some bad impact. Let us discuss one by one. It has been observed that producer has made lot of investment has been made over the 30 years. Multinational companies have made tremendous foreign investment for the sake of making profit, and as a result they have made lot of profit by selling their product in the country. But what is not good, student, that it has been observed that these companies have remained interested in making only those products which are requirement of the rich section of society, like you can say that soft drinks, uh, junk food, fast food, mobile phones, electronic gadgets, automobile industry, banking, etc. These are the requirement of the upper section of society, but no effort has been made by these multinational to venture in the field of education or in the field of medical services, because these are less profitable for them. That's how we can say that profit is not profit of this foreign investment, or you can say that foreign investment and foreign trade has remained limited to the small section of society, that is the well off section of the society. It has been also observed, there is a point written on page number 66, that it has been observed that due to the large investment by the multinational, many jobs have been created. More and more workers could be given job opportunity because multinational companies have set up many factories in the country. However, this job is not secure because multinational companies have remained very lean, very clear in the and very strict in the very strict in the hiring and firing. Whenever they required manpower for their work, for their production, they have hired the labor, and whenever they did not require, they have fired the labor from the job. So you can say that job has been created, but at the same time there was no job security. We have discussed in the chapter development that job security is something what is required. But on the other side, we discuss that in the organized sector, our governments make the effort that the job security has to be there, which has not been achieved. You cannot say that the workers have remained very secure about their job. There is another issue, student, that along with the multinational company, some local company which actually provide the raw material to these multinational company have also made good growth. Not only this, students, some local companies have made a very good growth, because this was the intention in 1991, that if we will liberalize our international trade, if we will remove the trade barrier, the local companies which have been given this assistance in the initial years of their production, if they will be finding a kind of competition from the foreign countries, from the foreign companies, multinational companies, they will improve the quality, they will bring the new technology, as well as they will try to produce their product at comparatively low prices. And exactly that has happened over a period of 30 years. All these companies have made good growth. Some of the companies have acquired a status of multinational itself, like few are Tata Motors, Infosys, Ranbaxy, uh, then companies like it is mentioned, few more names are mentioned over here, like Asian Paints and Sundaram and Fasteners. These are the company which have acquired the status of multinational companies. It has been also observed that this globalization has brought the growth of service sector in India. With the coming of the globalization, with the coming of the liberalization in the international trade and establishment of many multinational companies here with their factories and office, the new services have come in, have introduced in the India. These new services are like engineering, like administrative tasks, like information technology, call center, and various data entry. And by this means, student, our Indian producer has made some profit, By this means our worker has got opportunity, however there was no job security because multinational companies were not willing to give the job security, rather they wanted flexible labor laws. We shall discuss in the coming part. There is a box giving you step to track foreign investment. Over these years, one more thing has been witnessed, that our state government as well as our central government, be it our chief minister or the prime minister, whenever they visit to foreign countries, they try to address the investor in those countries as well as NRIs, those who are willing to invest in our country. They are being offered some of the benefits so that they can be attracted to invest in their country, in our country India, so that they can be attracted to invest in the various field. For that, government has made a special economic zone. Under this special economic zone, foreign companies are given some special treatment, like if they will be establishing their factories in the part to create employment opportunity for the large unemployed masses over here, what would be the situation that uh, they will be provided assistance by the government so that the water, road, transportation, uninterrupted power supply facility shall be provided. Also medical institute and educational institute shall be established so that the people who will be working over there will be able to get the kind of educational help and the medical help for the family member of these people who will be working in the family. Also, there has been a promise that government will waive off the tax for initial 5 years of the establishment of the factory, so that more and more foreign investment can take place. More and more foreign companies are going to establish themselves in this part. Student, it has been also promised by the government that the flexibility of the labor law will be made so that it can be suitable for the companies, as I discussed little earlier, to do the hiring and firing. It means the foreign companies, the multinational companies are wanting that whenever they are having a work, they should be given opportunity to hire the labor, but once there is no work, they should not keep the people working for them. And in the sector of economy chapter, sectors of Indian economy, we discussed that in the organized sector there need to be a job security. But job security when? Job security can be assured only when there is a job opportunity. First you have to get the job. So government has decided that at least these companies should be given something as a flexibility in the labor law to establish their factory. Only then our people will get the job. If our government will remain very strict with the labor law, maybe the possibilities are that the multinational company might not be establishing their factories. So to attract them, government has made flexibility of the labor law to ensure that work will be generated, if not for all the 365 days of the year, but at least few days, few months of the year can the work be generated by these multinational companies. Government cannot afford to remain very rigid. Now student, after this you have let's work these out section, and I believe that this section to be done by you yourself, and if required any with any doubts, you discuss it with your teacher. Thank you student.